Welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide podcast, where we discuss your favorite marble sports. We bring you in-depth analysis of each event across many different marble sports competitions. Catch all the information and drama you want to hear about your favorite players, teams, events, and more right here on the MSW podcast.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Marble Sports Worldwide Podcast. My name is Brendan.
And I'm Commander Wolf.
Yes, you are. And today we have a very exciting episode today. We're straying a little bit from the JMR, as we often talk about them and their huge channel. But we're actually going to turn our heads over towards another very high-quality marble sports channel. If you don't know it already, it's called MSPN. Stands for Marble Sports Performance Network. They released some very good marble series like Marblades, and they began a Marble Mayhem series, which is like a 3D animation marble racing tournament series. I mean, they just have a great channel. I would definitely go check it out. They have a great commentator. Shout out to Ricochet if he listens to this. But yeah, before we get into that and the news, a few announcements I want to throw at you real quick. First of all, Commander Waff, or Mr. Waff, has taken the official co-host role. So shout out to him, Commander Waff. How do you feel about being in the official MSWP co-host at this point?
Honestly, I kind of feel great about it. Like, it should be a lot of fun. Like, at first, I thought it would just be a one-time thing, but then I saw, it was just so much fun, talking about marbles, as a serious thing. And, to be able to be a part of that and I guess, expand the entertainment for the whole community through this podcast, it's something that I'm looking forward to and I'm glad to be a part of.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so excited to be hosting this, and I'm very happy that you have taken that role. He is going to be getting a nice mic like I have in the near future, so watch out for that. Mr. Waff coming in strong with some good quality audio soon.
Hopefully.
Other news, other announcements. We are trying a new segment out today, as well as talking about MSPN. We are going to throw in there at some point a new trivia segment. So if you are listening to this live, then you can definitely participate in that. And if you are not, well, then you can participate anyway, but I won't see it. But yeah, me and Mr. Waff have both prepared a interesting marble sports trivia question regarding anywhere in marble sports it can really involve. And so we're going to test each other's skills and test our listeners' skills. If you hear the question and you think you know the answer, definitely pause the audio or whatever, and just comment your answer down below. And we want to see if you guys know more marble sports than we do. I would hope not, but on that.
Yeah.
And finally, if you are not sure whether to come back for another episode next week, I would definitely want to change your mind, because next week is an amazing episode. It will be so good. We're going to have the head of the JMRC on, Malakis or Melikis, or however it's pronounced. Yeah, but he's coming on. He is probably as close to Gel as you can get without being Gel himself. He has done so much in the JMR community, and he is going to come on and talk some marbles with us. So we have, head of MSPN this week, head of JMRC next week. Big episodes coming up here, so definitely stay tuned. You'll want to hear all this discussion here. But yeah, I think that's all the announcements. Mr. Waff, anything from you?
None in particular. I'm just excited to get into this episode.
All right. Well, that's very, very interesting, Mr. Waff. You were a good host. But anyway, without further ado, guys, let's go to the news.
Marble sports fans! I am Johnny Marble here with the Marble Sports Worldwide News. Jelly's Marble Runs has released a new video titled Marble City, a good break between the two Marble Olympics competitions. This video features a huge marble amusement park complete with 30 different rides. Eat your heart out, Disney. Jelly's Marble Runs appears to be using the time between the Marble Olympics and the Marble Showdown very well. That said, we now sit only a couple weeks out of the Marble Showdown. In other JMR news, a new logo creator named Konku2 was asked to create a new set of logos for all of the Marble Olympics teams that we love. His creations got an overwhelmingly positive response from the community, with the exception being that of the mellow yellow logo. Some fans said that this logo was not mellow enough to represent the team. But these new logos can be found on the Reddit page and will feature first in the Marble Showdown. JMR has also released their sneak peek picture for the hosts of the 2020 Marble Olympics. Many fans have studied this picture and offered various guesses as to who the 2020 hosts will be. Johnny Marble's guessed? The Rangers, baby! In other marble sports, the first event of the M Games is closer to being released on MSPN. 8 teams will battle in extreme events in this marble sports tournament. The direction of MSPN's From the Ashes Marblementary and Marble Mayhem Season 3, however, is unknown. That's about all for this week. Not too much news for now, but hey, that's okay. I'm just glad to see you. But just wait till the Marble Showdown and the M Games begin. Well, hey, I've been Johnny Marble. Let's roll it back to Brendan and the rest of the MSW podcast.
All right, guys, we are back from the news. Thank you again, Johnny Marble, doing a great job with the news again. And now we are going to introduce a very special guest. As I mentioned before at the beginning of this episode, we have the creator of MSPN, Hershey, on in the flesh today. Hershey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. It's so nice to have you on. It's so nice to talk to some very good quality marble sports creators out there, and you were definitely one of them. So I'm very excited to hear what you have to say. We always ask our guests this at the beginning, but we're going to start out with our usual questions. How did you get into marble sports? Tell us, Hershey.
So I'm not exactly sure how I found the videos. I think I was just on YouTube, and I got recommended one of the Sand Marble Rally videos.
Yeah.
And within that first night that I found JMR, I watched the entire Sand Marble Rally from 2016. And I know I came in somewhere around the middle of the 2016 Marble Olympics, and I watched the whole first half in one night.
Wow.
It was just
dedication.
It's just it's one of those things I could really get into. I'm a guy who really likes statistics, and seeing people be able to take objects like marbles like this and turn them into sports teams and make so many people care about them was just really fun.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, I can actually relate to you because I got in by watching the Sand Marble Rally first, and it's just nice to see so many fans getting sucked in like that. You're right, man. The ability to be able to do these things with marbles, do all this high quality content and see it all unfold out like an actual Olympics is absolutely awesome. I pretty much have a similar story in that way. Back in 2016, binge watched like the whole thing and stuff, and then I haven't stopped since. At least I would hope not, because I'm talking about the marbles right now.
I got a little further in than I thought I was going to, but things like this where when I found the wiki, that was one of those moments where I'm like, I'm so glad this thing exists, because it's something that it's such a fantasy league, but when you bring in something like a website and you get all these stats about marbles and teams, it becomes so real. I think that was finding the wiki was one of the things that kind of kept me around, seeing all the history, even though there wasn't a lot at that time. I think that was definitely one of the things that I loved about it too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, many people, like, once they see all the stats laid out there, the team names, all of that, it just they cannot believe it. It becomes real, becomes a real event. It becomes an event with real, real meaningful, scores and things like that, as opposed to just doing a marble race and throwing some commentary on it. Now it's like a real thing. People keeping track of the stats all the way back to 2016. People are judging the skill levels of these teams all the way back to the beginning because they have them recorded. And now, 4 years in, we have quite a history in the marble sports community. We do. And I'm hoping to see other channels like your own, like, start to build their own histories, with the M games coming up that we'll get into in a little bit as well. Start to see them, those stats be kept, and then that becomes a real thing. All of a sudden, you have all these different tournaments going on in marble sports, these high quality tournaments. I mean, that's very likely to happen. I mean, definitely. So
yeah,
you're right.
Especially with the way that it's growing. I've seen so many channels start to come up. Obviously there are a couple of channels that are over hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and many that are in the thousands. But I think the Marble Olympics has had a huge impact on the way that that these races are recorded and broadcast to the world. And I think the statistics part of it is definitely a big part of that too.
Oh yeah, without the record of it, then it kind of just disappears away. Mr. Waff, you've been a little quiet.
Yeah,
what do you have to say? Do you have any questions for Mr. Hershey on the initial side?
Not much. I guess did you see marble videos back in the day, before 2016, the Algadoo races and all that stuff, or was that actually not on your radar before?
No, that was actually a whole lot later when I started seeing stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, the San Marble Rally was the first one that I saw.
Huh.
I hadn't seen any of the virtual ones actually up until just before we started our own virtual series was when I went back and watched those.
Oh, okay. Is it the same for you, Marble Guy, as well?
Yeah, I first saw a Sand Marble Rally video. Sorry, I said video. That's weird. And I don't think I actually ever talked about completely how I got into marble sports. I think it might be in episode 1, but episode 1 is so
long ago.
And just that yeah. Somehow that one has the most listens, but okay. I saw Sand Marble Rally first, and I'm similar story to Hershey, and I really was into those. I don't know if the same for you, Hershey, but were you really into those videos of the Rube Goldberg contraptions and things like that, of all the different marbles and stuff rolling around, and all the contraptions and things like that? Because I was watching a bunch of those, then saw this recommendation for the marble video, and I was like, I watched it. They were racing, and I was like, okay, why does this guy sound like he should be doing commentary for professional sports? And I was like, there's no way this is happening.
That's actually the crazy thing, is that I don't think I had watched any videos that had marbles in it, period, when I had this video recommended to me. I wasn't watching those types of videos. I hadn't seen, I don't even know if I had a video that had marble in the title, and all of a sudden it shows up my recommended. I click on it.
Yeah.
This goes to show you. This goes to show you how popular it is. It's being recommended to people who aren't even actively watching marble related content anymore. For me, because I watched marble videos several years before I saw the Marble Olympics in 2018 or 2017. It was late. I think it was mid 2018, and then but it had been so many years that I hadn't watched one that I figured that it would have been out of my algorithm at that point. But I still got recommended from Gel's channel, that brought me back into it again, because I saw that that people were actually taking the idea of the Algadoo and actually finally improving upon it, instead of the same stuff over and over again. And I saw the potential for what marble racing could be, and that's why I decided to come back into the whole community.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Once the marbles become real instead of animated, and once it becomes 3D, and that's when it really starts to take off. I mean, It is. I still sometimes sit there in shock looking at these videos. Like, what is happening right now? This is an Olympic Games with marbles, and it looks just as professional as the real Olympic Games. What is going on? And I sit there and say that now, like 4 years into watching this, and it really is incredible. And I love the stories of how people got into it. Just seeing the sand marble video or being like a long time Algodu watcher, and then just being blown away by an actual 3D real life event.
Well, it's not that it was 3D. It's just like the production value. Like they were taking it like, but before it was just like the same generic copyright free music and like playing over the thing. They would probably put text on the screen, but they wouldn't actually commentate over it. And the tracks the tracks all look the same. Like they all designed them with the black borders and stuff. The one person who finally broke that was Eric Facette. His season 5, like his first 4 seasons were some of the worst, if I'm being honest. But season 5 was easily the best of every single series I've ever seen at that time, and even to this day, for standard Algodu racing, not necessarily like the stuff like MSPN does, but like just the regular standard style. Like he has like these super incredibly detailed backgrounds with colors and stuff. And he has like he does programming for it too, like so he does specific things. Like it's more complex and takes more effort, but as a result, it was more entertaining to watch. And seeing how like people took this idea into the real world and also in Algodu and try to up the ante and make it more engaging, finally showed that level of advancement and quality that I hadn't seen for so many years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I would imagine you were definitely not expecting that advancement in quality, like
not at all. Not at all.
Man, I mean, like, yeah, I'd have to agree on that. I did want to mention real quick, because we were on a similar topic. I just want to hear what you guys think about this. But I heard a podcast with Greg Woods in it, about a week or two ago, and if you're a listener out there and you heard me say podcast with Greg Woods and just flipped out of your chair, then you can find this podcast go to the Triowa podcast, just look that up, and it was one of the most recent episodes. The title has something with marbles in it. You should be able to find it. If I feel like it, I'll throw a link in the Discord. But besides the point, Greg was talking about getting into marble sports, and he made a really good point that I think kind of applies here. He said something along the lines of he notices a lot of people got into it or would start to get into it more from seeing the sand marble rally videos than from seeing the Olympics, because he's like just the even though the sand marble rally is not as complex as the Marble Olympics, it's just the fact that it's so simple. It's just racing down a hill, the classic racing down a hill, and with the commentary, he's like that sometimes pulls the people even in more. Sometimes going right into the Marble Olympics, and I can attest to this because I did not like the Marble Olympics first time I watched it, believe it or not. Blasphemy to say
Really?
that, I know. But first time I saw it, I was like, nah, I just want to find more racing videos with commentary. And I went off marbles for a little bit finding that, and then it came back to Marble Olympics, and I was like, am I kidding myself right now? This is amazing. But there's an appeal just to that, especially as an outside person just coming into it, just joining, to just that classic racing with commentary. And that's why so many more people pulled in. You throw Marble Olympics at them, they just can't even comprehend what the hell is going on. And I know like some friends that have like seen that and just they're like, what is even this? I can't even comprehend this. And it just goes to the point of like, big marble sports creators and names in the community like Hershey getting into it through Sand Marble Rally, or you, Mr. Waff, getting in through it and just the 2D Algodu, like those some more simpler videos. It's pretty crazy like that. It sometimes just takes the simple stuff to get you into it. I just thought that was a really cool point that he made in the podcast.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, because I feel like especially now, the Marble Olympics compared to the Sand Marble Rally, I would much rather watch the Sand Marble Rally at this point, just because of how commercialized they've made everything in the Marble Olympics. It feels like,
yeah.
The simplicity is more along the lines of what it should be.
Right.
And that goes back to 2016 and 2017. Not as much 2018. That's kind of when it started going the other way. That I love those seasons way more, because they feel like they were straight out of the mind of Gel, and I don't know, it feels like it's a little different now, but I still feel like obviously the San Marble Rally has added things in the past with obstacles and whatnot, but they have removed those, and I feel like that was the right decision as well. It's just that simple burst of energy, the excitement for 2 minutes racing down a hill. I definitely agree with that. That can
That's really
definitely
nice,
appeal to a lot more people, especially like you said, coming into it.
That is actually really... Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Waff.
And I can understand that. Like, so I know that you didn't see some of the last events for the 2019, but like one thing that I did notice, like, was the dirt race, which is one of the later events. I liked it a lot more, like both because of its chaoticness, as I mentioned in one of the previous episodes, but realizing it now, another aspect I liked about it was the fact that like all of the marbles were like, or at least a large portion of the marbles in each heat were racing with one another, and so like events like that where like there's several marbles at once and like you can actively see who is winning and who isn't makes it so much more engaging, because like an event like surfing or rafting,
Surfing.
while they're interesting, like because the way unless you're actively keeping track of like times and stuff, you will forget whose placement is where until they show you the recap.
Definitely, yes, yeah.
And so like that's why in the Sand Marble Rally and stuff like that, it's more intense because like, you're actively seeing who is going to win, and like in the dirt race especially, how like marbles would come out of nowhere, like just steal like or go off the track but then come back on again. Like it was so chaotic, and you didn't know what was going to happen next.
Savage speeders.
Yeah, the savage speeders. It kept you on your edge of your seat, and I do have to admit that like having those complex events for the Marble Olympics is very interesting and intriguing, but that simpler basic racing that started like all the way back. You can look all back to NASCAR. People just loved seeing the people race with another, and like seeing just the positions changing, and like seeing just how close they are to each other on an active basis rather than waiting for a results sheet. And so I think for me, those types of races are probably my speed and probably my preference over something like rafting or curling. Especially curling was way too slow.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, and it's a matter of appeal. It's a matter of preference, definitely. Right. I do see a sort of an appeal to events like the balancing, where each team alone is trying to get that top score. But like when you talk about surfing, definitely when you talk about surfing, that was like, it was so unappealing. Not because the event was badly thought out. I think it was cool. It was just so hard to follow. You never knew who was in the lead. It was very difficult. I mean, when I turn to events like rafting, I know what you're saying. There's just that thrill to all the marbles racing together, and like you never know what's going to happen. All of a sudden, players can be first and then go back to eighth. You don't even know. I mean, rafting, it's still, even though it was like solo, I thought it was still well done, because you always knew who was kind of having the edge. Everything was very cleanly done in the rafting.
Rafting
and
was
it
a
is
better
a matter
example.
of appeal.
Rafting was a better example.
Yeah, definitely. And it is a matter of appeal. Some people, like Greg said, I mean, the voice of the Marble Olympics said that there is an appeal to him, definitely in some ways more than Marble Olympics itself, in just the classic racing. Do I think Marble Olympics has a place? I think it has an amazingly huge place. I mean, like, some of the events, and people loved some of the events. Like, people love balancing, people love collision. But I guess when they plan the events, they should maybe focus more on events that at least pit two teams against each other. Balancing is great, but balancing is single. And there's a place in this whole 16 events of the Marble Olympics for a couple of those singular events. I love balancing. I think it's a great event. Don't overdo that. I love the 5-meter sprint. It's the most, I don't want to say bland, but the most simple of all the events.
Basic type of event, yeah.
But I watch that and I almost feel a little bit of adrenaline, with the speed they get and the simple just racing. I see them come down and I'm like, oh my god, who's gonna win? Who's gonna win? It's so it's just a straight race, and it gets you, it gets you.
That was probably my favorite event in the 2018 Marble Olympics, was the ice dash. So basically the same thing, because you can see momentum building, and you just have a question of whether or not they can get there, and can they hold them off. And it's in 5 seconds you're having all these thoughts, and I find that really exciting as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like it's just some of that excitement of that pure racing is just great. I mean, there is that other excitement when it comes to events like Collision. I mean, because you have two teams coming down and just smashing into each other, chaos everywhere, balls of
Right.
chaos everywhere. But I mean, it really, you got to think out some of these events. I mean, some of the classic and racing events just sometimes just are better. I mean, I gotta say I agree with that. The dirt race was definitely a great event because it had that element of just pure wild racing. And that's why now, remember back into it, the previous episode, Mr. Waff, where we talked about everyone hating on the Hubelino race but liking the dirt race in events 10 and 11. I was like, oh, they seem kind of similar. Marbles get stuck and blah, blah, blah. But it was just that the dirt race was so wild and there's so many DNFs. You didn't even, chaos was ensuing, but you could still follow the event, as opposed to the Hubelino maze race is that it was almost like a controlled chaos. Marbles would get stuck all in the maze, but it wouldn't be as like clear, and it was like all these marbles were all over the place. I mean, it was maybe
Right.
that was it.
And I think also, I just realized it, but there was no thing about like time finishing. It was all about how many marbles finished, and if they didn't finish, how far they made it to the finish line. It wasn't about who got there fastest. And so there was not as much, I guess, anticipation or excitement, because like you were like, it wasn't like a kind of like, it wasn't really much of a race to the bottom so much as just trying to get to the bottom.
I also feel like I've seen that event in like the Hubelino tournament, so I kind of understand what you guys are talking about here, even though I didn't see the event. But I also feel like when a marble gets stuck in an event like that, the fans always feel like that's the builder's fault, not that and then you see in a sand race when they get stuck, you don't really feel that way. Because
correct.
These are,
that's a great
these
point.
are these are little pieces of plastic that are snapped together, and it just always feels like that was meant to stop them rather than that's an element.
I can understand
definitely. Like that's my opinion is a great point. Like just the fact that you feel when a course is manufactured that it should run smoothly, that they shouldn't have to change the event to the point where they give points to marbles that don't finish because it can't be made where the marbles all finish. As opposed to, you're right, the wildness of a dirt race or sand marble rally where you just know nature does what nature does, and it might just the marbles might just get stuck on a stick that rolled onto the track or whatever. That's just, it adds a kind of a feeling of just mysteriousness. Maybe that's the word.
You gotta always be on the edge of your seat too. You never know what's coming.
Right, because you're like,
Right.
Savage Speeders might be in first, and all of a sudden they ram into the stick, and then they're in fifth, and you don't even know. As opposed to Humalina, where it's all structured in little mazes, and you're like, you know what? You're seeing the marbles just kind of go back and forth, trying to get into the slots, and you're right. I can see where that could be a little bit boring, and I understand why they probably might take that event out in the coming years. Definitely.
Yeah, events like the maze race, like you can have moments like you did in the dirt race, like where the Savage Speeders went off the course, but then either just because they kept going or because that team that hit them from
Cheaters.
behind, they hit them behind on the stick,
Cheaters.
it knocked them back into the course, and they were back in the race, and they made it to the front again. And like you can't get that level of chaos in a structured, simplified event like the maze race.
And I think that point is definitely proven with the past San Marble rallies when they added in the obstacles, and a lot of fans hated those because they were, it wasn't like a leaf flew into the middle of the course. It was something that was placed there to mess up the marbles, and just, it always felt like when they hit that, if the leader hit that and got stuck, that was an intentional
Put there for that, right?
Yeah.
So it's not just random.
It was there to create chaos, not let chaos happen.
That's a great point. And if you create chaos, then it's not really chaos, is it?
Well,
Someone write that down.
That's a conversation for a different time, I think.
Someone, Mr. Waff, write that down. That would be a quote when we do like a 100th anniversary episode. That would be a quote I put in there.
My dog just came in. What was the quote?
I don't know.
If you remember the noise
Mr.
earlier was my
Waff's
dog.
guys.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what that
well,
was the noise earlier.
There you go,
that was
guys.
the dog.
Great quotes lost because of pets. See, that's chaos right there. I was trying to, exhibit a great quote.
Well, you know what?
and
I will
your
remember
dog
the
walks
I'll
in
hear
out
the
of
quote when I
nowhere
listen
and
to it.
ruins that.
I'll hear the quote when I re-listen to the episode.
You listen to this?
I always make sure that I want to make sure that I'm doing a good job, like, and what I can improve on. And so I listen to myself. I know a lot of people don't do that because it's kind of weird, and I can get. Also, we've heard the conversation before, so it's kind of boring. But I want to make sure that I'm improving, and so even though I've heard the conversation before, I want to make sure that I'm doing a good job, and so I listen to myself.
Yeah, you're a smart man. I also listened to this, but it was a joke. But
okay.
yes, I listened back, and then I'm like,
there.
oh, damn it! I really, really went off topic for 10 minutes there, and that was so fun though. But I haven't said marble in a long time, and you know what? That's fine. You know what? Off topic is great because it makes it a real conversation. See, this is chaos. This is an example of chaos. That's why people here. I'm gonna go on a little bit of a off thing here. That's why people love podcasting over radios now. Like, I saw on the internet recently that it's like the golden age of podcasting, and I totally get it. Because podcasting, often people just post it as a casual conversation as opposed to a structured news event. And it literally connects to what we were just talking about. The chaos of, like, what could happen. What tangent might they go off on, like the one I'm doing right now. But you don't know. You don't know.
That is true, actually, yeah.
We could accidentally fall into a conversation about light bulbs. Sorry, I just saw a picture of a light bulb.
Okay.
and it literally just could happen. It could just happen, and you have no idea. And you're like, oh, I'm expecting some marbles. Then all of a sudden we're tangent on light bulbs for 5 minutes. And you know what? That is actually more interesting than just very structured going through everything. That's why when I do this podcast, I write down a bunch of questions. I barely plan it. Oh, wait, never mind. I totally plan it a lot. But yeah, but yeah, and then I just let the conversation flow. And then like, look, we're like 20 minutes already in, and we're just having a conversation. I mean, I just connected marbles to podcasting, and that's pretty cool.
Well, this is a marble podcast, though, so it doesn't seem that difficult.
That is true.
I used the context of our quote, a quote of the day. That is the quote of the day, guys. Yeah.
What was the quote? Yeah.
What did I say? Something like,
if you create chaos, then is it really chaos? Is that what it was?
Yeah, something along that. You know what? One of you listeners out here that like love this so much for some reason, go send that quote to me. Listen to this, send it to me, because who am I gonna put on that? Just like call out someone in this Discord and see if they're actually listening. I don't know.
All right, so get back to the structure. So let's see here. Let's talk more about the channel of MSPN. So Hershey, can you tell us more about
why would we do that, Mr. Waff, when we have the trivia segment right now?
Oh, okay. Shoot, that just came out of nowhere. All right,
let's go to the trivia segment, guys. Right. This is our new segment. We're gonna roll right into it.
Incredibly experimental.
Yes, incredibly experimental, and a little bit chaos here. But I explained in the beginning, me and Mr. Waff both prepared an awesome marble sports related question, and we're gonna ask it. You guys, as listeners, should pause and see if you could answer it and get it right. Maybe, actually, definitely throw a comment down when you hear the question and see if you get it right. I mean, we try to engage our fans a little bit. But yeah,
I've got a trivia question too.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, you got one as well. Oh, that's great, right. Mr. Hershey.
Awesome.
You are really bringing good.
I just came up with
good stuff to this.
Podcast. Okay.
Great. See, this is the kind of people I like. They come up with things on the spot like that. I already had the trivia question. I had to sit there for like 10 minutes and think about if I know anything about marble sports. So, I mean, but Mr. Waff, why don't you start us off? What's your question?
All right, so as we all know, in the 2017 Marble Olympics, Momo got an injury. But what was the team that they were up against in that event?
Well, that's easy. Come on.
Damn.
Can I answer it, or am I not allowed to answer it?
Well, you can give your guess, and then I'll give mine, and then Mr. Waff will tell me who's right. Well, tell us who's right.
I already know I'm... All right, whatever.
All right, wait, let me give a guess first, because I don't actually know this.
Okay.
I'm trying to think back. I know that I remember this. I do remember this, because I like freaked out when they actually had an injury for marble. I was like, what?
But everybody remembers the injury, but no one else really generally remembers anything else about it.
That's Mr. Waff, you're bringing good questions here. But I think I'm going to go with Limers, man. I really think it was the Limers.
The Limers? All right.
Well, it wasn't the Limers. I'll tell you why I know this. I don't know if everybody out here who's listening knows, but I actually used to have I controlled the merch store for the Marble Olympics, and we were actually working on a concept for a T-shirt for the Momo Momo injury. It was going to have
cool.
Momo Momo on the front with his crutches, and on the back was going to be the collision of the two teams. It was Team Momo and the Midnight Wisps.
That's correct.
God damn.
Dang it! That's such a specific thing that only you would probably get. Like, because people always talk about the injury, but they never actually, because it's so memorable, the injury itself, they don't remember the other things about the event. And so I figured that would trip you guys up.
This is a good learning experience. I'm learning.
I kind of want that shirt, but
Oh, it would be.
I do want that shirt. Hey, I would buy that shirt.
I think I would too. I remember seeing the design of it. It would look good, I think. It'd be very funny, a good conversation starter too.
Someone get on that. Yeah, that's trivia question 1. Hershey, let's hear yours. I want to hear what this is about.
all right. So I think you guys probably both know this because you're in the MSPN Discord. But so in the first season, and actually all the seasons of Marble Mayhem, there is a marble named Limelight. How did Limelight get his name? Where did it come from?
No, shoot! I remember this. Yeah, this happened. This happened several months. Actually, this has probably been a year, I think, since this happened. Like, it was in the Discord, like way back at the beginning.
Yeah, it was in the Discord, yeah.
Way at the beginning, though. Way at the beginning. Shoot. Limelight was.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a good listener on this one. Go ahead, Mr. Waff.
Ah, crap. I don't want to cheat, but even if I tried to, I wouldn't be able to find it in time. There's
I want to hear if Marble Guy's got any guesses.
Oh my god. Let's see. Limelight. Let me think. Why would Limelight get his name? Did he? When I think about Limelight, I always think of like the expression of like being in the limelight. So like you're in like the center of attention. So what did he like win an event and like boast about it or something, or celebrate over much or something, or is it just because he's a green marble that's kind of bright?
All right, let's see what Waff's got to say.
Ah, shoot! I wish I should have remembered this. Dang it!
I want to hear. Wait! Before you say it, please, guys, I want to hear some answers to this one. Please pause this video and This is an audio. Sorry. Pause this audio and comment your answer. Why did Limelight get his name?
Let's see here.
Or how?
Or how he
How?
got his name.
Choice
Where did
words.
it come
Choice
from?
words.
See here. So Limelight, since he's an algorithm marble, nothing happened in real life. Or well, actually, I guess something could happen in real life. Wait. Oh wait, wasn't there like? Wait, didn't you have a lime next to a lamp?
No.
Oh, that would have been a great origin story, though.
Great guess, Mr. Waff. You really.
That would have been amazing if I was right about that. That just
Yeah, that would have also not have happened ever. So.
All right, so
Yes.
Here's the story. So, back in the beginning of just before the 2018 Marble Olympics, the original IMC started, and we were tasked with multiple different things. One of the things that we discussed were the reserve marbles. Going back to the Momo Momo question.
Oh, that's right. I remember now.
Going back to the Momo Momo question, and Mimo coming into the Marble Olympics, everyone decided that, well, every team needed a reserve marble. And I actually submitted a list of names for every single team, what their reserve name should be. And I actually did go a play off of the term Limelight, like you said, just because I thought that was a clever name. But that was actually my submission for the Limers Reserve Marble in the IMC.
That's actually interesting. That's interesting. I never would have gotten.
I remember you. I remember hearing that in the Discord way back when I first joined. Like that. The moment we started talking about it, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute!" Now I remember.
Yep.
Mr. Waff, you tried though. You really did try.
I wish my guess was true because that'd be so much more hilarious.
Yeah, it would be, but it was pretty far off.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, he saw a lime and a lamp just randomly next to each other, and he's like, "Oh, that's a marble name." There we go. Though sometimes you wonder how some of these marble names are come up with. That'd be a good episode. Just talking how these names.
Momo's name, I still don't understand. I said the Momo dumpling that's named after is like maybe a slight green sometimes. It's never dark green. I've never understood why Momo is named what it is. I'd love to hear the story behind it, because to me it doesn't resemble a dumpling at all.
I'm pretty sure it was just suggested on like a Facebook post and they liked the name.
But one of the things I love about Team Momo, I just love about Gel in general. I guess I don't know if he came up with the names or whoever came up with the names, but if he did, this is I guess directed to him. But I love how it was just so silly. Like, it wasn't like he had picked the team and he came up with 4 super serious names that would make it all super serious. But he's just like, you know what, Team Momo, I really don't have any ideas, so let's just go with Momo, and Momo. Yeah, and let's just do that. Or like for Raspberry Racers, Rizzy, Razzie, Rosie, and Roosie, or whatever it is. He just like, you know what?
With like the Rojo Rollers. Rojo Uno, Rojo Dos,
Rojo Tres, Rojo Quattro.
I mean, it's just so like silly. And actually, that silliness is what makes me love it so much more. Like when I talk about Fubica, and they are a great quality channel, like I've said, but they make it all country names and things like that, and that literally turns me off in some ways to the videos, because like besides him being a little bit disorganized as far as tournaments go, I mean it's like I don't want to see countries that I know of. I want to see like random names. I want this to be a whole different world. Right. And JMR is created like its own different world as opposed to relating it to the real world. It's like there's no relations ever to the real world as opposed to like them asking you to buy the merch, which I did. But I mean, there's no relations, and it's like almost like it's like a nice escape, a whole different world I can be in, and because they name, you know, Team Momo's names are Momo a bunch of times. I mean, it really pulls you in. It does, and yeah, that was my point.
Yeah, and like for me, so like with the like there have been I remember seeing like Olympics stuff technically like way back in the day. Well, they were always like with countries, and for me like and like even like Gel, like the first Marble Olympics technically like they did a standard country marble race before the first 2016 Marble Olympics. I don't know if any of you guys remember that, but that was something on their old channel. Like
I don't.
Stuff like that was never really appealing to me because of stuff like that, because it's like if my country lost, I had a very hard time trying to root for another country instead to still enjoy the video. But with like something like Marble Olympics or Sand Marble Rally, I have a few marbles that I like, and so if one marble doesn't win, I can at least know that like my second pick or my third pick won, because I just don't have like any connections with other countries, you know?
Because it's like a whole separate world. It's like walking into a whole different sport, and like you can pick any teams as opposed to like, you know, like this might make more sense to you guys than the foreigners, but when it comes to like baseball, like if they started naming all the marble teams with the same names as the baseball teams, I'm like, okay, well, I only root for one team. So like, and that's just the way life is, and it's all like in real life. So when like that team is out, or if that team's not in it, and then I'm like, most of these teams I don't even know, but I know another one, so it makes it awkward as opposed to just a new world with limers and a bunch of other different fruits that are marble team names now.
Yeah.
It's just a whole new world, and I can just appreciate it. I mean, like, I actually don't have a favorite team, believe it or not.
Really?
I have a top 5, and the top 5 is to be revealed way different time. But it's not really a top.
I have like probably 3 main teams and then like a couple other ones. You know, I root for if the other teams aren't doing so good. But I don't really have
exactly.
like that one team. Well, I mean, you know, obviously I haven't watched the last probably half of this season, but you know, before when I was, you know, watching on a consistent basis, I would root for probably 4 or 5 teams depending.
Yeah, I mean, I do a similar thing. And, like, even those top 5 I have aren't like, okay, if those 5 aren't in, then there's no point in me watching it. I just pick a different one. I just pick a different team because I'm like, you know what? There's certain teams I like, and there's certain teams I don't like as much. And you know what? Let's just hope one of the ones I like win, as opposed to, like, oh, if, like, the Mets drop out, I'm just done watching the whole thing. You know? I mean, like, that's a baseball team, by the way. But it does make it, I guess, like, that fact it's own new world, I can appreciate it more. I think that's why, I mean, Fubica still pulls so many views, because a lot of people do appreciate keeping it to the real world, I guess. But like,
I think there's a lot of people who don't agree with, you or honestly, I feel the same way about the team names. There's a lot of people that appreciate having the countries, and they like watching, especially people who live outside of the U.S. They like seeing their country represented because it's really not in a lot of videos.
That is true.
That's true.
A lot of countries that are not as known don't get as much representation on the internet, and so hearing their country's name represented in like even something as simple as a marble video, I can understand is like kind of a big deal to them.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we went quite on a tangent, and I still haven't said my trivia question, so I guess I'm not going to really make this a separate segment, but just kind of flow it into this podcast. But I'll do my question. I had a more simpler question. I didn't want to start too hard, but mine was, what are the 8 teams that will be competing in the M Games? I know, Hershey, obviously you know this, so Mr. Waff, why don't you say to me, what are the 8 teams that are competing in M Games?
You cannot go to the MSPN Discord.
Okay, well,
he's totally in there right
now. Funny enough,
Stop.
Virtual desktop is not working right now, so I can't see my desktop anymore. So I'm using the Oculus right now, and so I can't see it. So I can't cheat. So it's the telescopics, the metamorphics, the Hornets, the poison frogs. I can. Yeah. That's the name of the team, right? Poison frogs. I'm pretty. It's a frog. Okay, poison frogs. That's 4.
Sorry.
Come on. Dang it. We haven't talked about so much does not happen with MSPN, so recently that I've forgotten a lot. Shoot. No. Come on, I know this.
You're trying though. Like, that's the good part.
I got half of them.
Maybe I don't know if the Hornets is one of them.
It was either Hornets or Bumblebees, but it was. I know they had I'm pretty sure it was Hornets because Bumblebees is in Marble Olympics.
But Hornets is also in Marble Showdown.
Wait, what? So I guess it's...
She's like,
it was either Hornets or it was Bumblebees, alright? One of the two. They're both flying yellow insects.
And they're both in the Marble Olympics, so
wait, try. Wait, what? Oh, shoot.
They're both in Marble Showdown. Like, I mean, there's no other way around that.
The poison frogs are the same marble as the Hornets.
Oh, that's right. Their color scheme is exactly the same. Yeah. Dang.
Oh, that was it. Yeah,
so I've only got 3 of them then.
Yeah, you're only getting 3.
Okay.
Wait, let me give this a shot because I actually don't know the answer to this either. If you have many more guesses though, go ahead.
Okay, so I did telescopics, metamorphics, poison frogs. Then there is the. Dang. Shoot. Wow, I completely forgot the team names.
You're gonna get this. I know you're gonna get it. You're really good.
I'm trying to remember. I'm trying to think back to the icons and the emoticons for the MSPN channel. It's here. Come on.
You'll get it. You're gonna get it. Like, you're doing great
right now. No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I give up. I can't even check anymore because my desktop isn't working. Gosh dang it.
Wait. You got the recording though, right?
It's recording. Don't worry. It's still going. It's just I can't interact through my Oculus right now for some reason.
Imagine if you couldn't send me the recording and I just put the episode on with me and Hershey, so then just be quite quiet for
that would be very awkward.
A minute. That'd be so funny.
It'd be funny, but it'd be kind of strange. All right. So if you want to try,
when I done this too long, then I'll do that.
I'm up, but if you want to try, you can go ahead. Although you've already been given 3 answers so far.
I actually don't know the answer. I didn't look up the answer to this question because I am so prepared. But I mean, I think I know most of them. I think I can get 6.
They were announced a long time ago. Just to be fair,
it was a long time ago,
and not a whole lot has happened.
Yeah.
All right, so there's 8 of them. Let me give this a shot. So we got poison frogs because Mr. Waff said that. We have telescopics because he said that, and then we have the other one that he said, which I can't remember. Thank you, Hershey. You were a really nice guy. Metamorphics. So that's the 3 he said. I obviously know a 4th one because I do the Instagram for that page. The whiteouts.
Oh. Dang it! How did I forget
You're going to say that 3 more times. We also have the Woodland Foxes. Shout out to Beta Wolf. If you listen to this episode, the Woodland Foxes are in there as well.
That was a team I was looking forward to. How did I forget the Woodland Foxes?
We have the Tridents.
Oh, this is so bad.
Which they are cool too. The Tridents are cool.
And apparently
so that's 6 of them.
2 most forgettable teams. Who are they?
Just really, really, right now, Mr. Hirsch. I mean, come on, man. I'm trying. Let me see.
I'll be honest, they
Let's
are
think
pretty
of-
forgettable at this point.
Oh, dude, I can do this though. I know I can do this. I always forgot Metamorphics because that was always like a forgettable team. But I'm gonna
See,
try to remember these
that's
other
like
ones.
That's a cool team name though, so people will remember.
Right.
I remember,
right,
I remember
but
the
it's like
icon for it all the time.
There's 2 other teams. There are. That's true, and I don't know them. That's also true. But I'm gonna try. Let's think.
You realize that you're struggling to answer your own trivia question, right?
Shut up. Well, I'm gonna have to mute someone real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna mute him real quick.
I forgot that that this was your question.
How would you forget? I asked it a minute ago.
Because you didn't know the answers.
Oh.
You should know the
Oh, I
answers
told
to
you I
your own
didn't look this up.
question.
I'm just trying to challenge myself too. Okay, Mr. Waff. If I
Oh
know,
my
if I
gosh.
looked up the answer, then this wouldn't be very good, wouldn't it?
You guys need help.
Oh, help? Yeah, I need a lot of help.
One team is green.
Oh, that's just. Oh my god. Not the Green Gang. We're both ing. This is great. This is great podcasting right now. This is awesome.
The Clovers! The Clovers!
Oh, dude, you're
yes,
right,
yes.
dude. They're so forgettable. The Clovers. That's. Yeah, I wonder who asked this question because that was a good one.
Oh, yeah, gee, I wonder who.
Yeah, I think it was one of our viewers, our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
And the last team. I mean, give me the color of the marble.
Well, I'll give
The
you a hint.
marble.
This team actually started as an Instagram page.
Oh, is it the Teal Breakers? No, right? No, not them, right?
No.
Oh, the Mountain Tumblers?
Yes, the Mountain Tumblers.
I knew there was a mountain named something in there, but
I knew it was the Mountain Tumblers because I
remember
actually was talking to that
there was
guy.
I remember the
for quite a bit
mountain
of time in middle school.
icon in the chats, but I couldn't remember the name that went with the mountain.
And he's quite
Or
a
is the
good
mountain
logo
and a
creator. He
volcano?
made some great ones. I actually forgot he was a part of it, though. Like, I thought he was... I know the Teal Breakers and the Mountain Tumblers, I both remember them as Instagram pages, so I couldn't remember which one.
All right, well that was okay. So now that we're done with trivia, let's see if I can just walk over to my computer real quick so I can see what's. Well, the next segment that we were going to talk about was
Is narrating Mr. Waff's life. He
Yes.
was walking over to his computer.
so I asked about upcoming M games, like what to expect and like what event,
Oh, right,
like,
right,
the events, and, like to
right. I'm the host. Thank you.
This trivia actually was perfect for introducing the teams because we literally just listed all of them off.
Yeah. So one more time, let's see if I can remember because I want to actually list them out all together so people can get this. Metamorphics, Woodland Foxes, Whiteouts, Clovers, Mountain Tumblers, Poison Frogs. Shit. I don't even remember which ones I listed.
The Clovers.
Two of the first ones that you listed, you're not missing.
Oh, God, dude, you just. I'm done.
The
I'm done.
telescopic-
Metamorphics? Did I? Telescopics.
Telescopics. And
It's the same
Telescopic-
mess. I tried to wrap it up well, but nope.
Come on,
Oh my
they got
God.
like the coolest logo.
yeah, Telescopics is awesome.
Yeah,
No,
telescopic
no,
cool.
the
Mr. Dark
team-
Archon.
The team you're missing.
Oh, did he miss one? Wait.
Oh, come on. Poison. Did I say Poison Frog? Yeah, I did.
Tridents.
The Tridents.
Oh, Tridents. I remember them too. I was like, ha, I got you, Mr. Waff, because I remember the Tridents, and then I forgot them. Dude, this is like... This is good work, though. Okay, so that was your trivia segment. If you like that, then yeah, we're gonna do it again. I'm probably gonna do it a few more times.
It was actually a lot more fun
and
than I
try to-
expected it to be.
Yeah, because we have to like show all the listeners that we don't know a lot of stuff, even though we're doing a podcast. But it's kind of funny though. I like it. But
I feel like I dominated.
yeah, do me guys a favor. If you're listening right now, please pause this audio and comment if you want to see this trivia section again. I would love to hear from you guys a little bit. I really want to know if this you want to keep hearing this. We'll probably try to know more things, but the fun is that we don't know things, so that's the fun part of it. So yep, comment if you want to hear it again, and if you have questions, definitely write in or voice message in or whatever to give me trivia questions, and I will make Mr. Waff fail and our guests fail. But in any event, we are going to move on. We are going to move on to M Games because that's relevant and soon to come out. So Hershey, why don't you tell us what is M Games? When is this? And well, Yeah.
All right, so there's a really, really long story. Should I tell the whole story?
If it's
sure.
really, really long, then I'm just going to end the episode now. So I guess just tell the short version of it.
All right. Well, it's still kind of long, even for the short version.
That's fine.
I gotta tell you,
kind of long is different.
I gotta tell you how this started, because I'm sure there are maybe a few, like 3 people, that remember hearing the name M Games like 2 years ago. I don't know if either of you remember hearing that or not. Probably not.
I remember it a while ago, but
this was back when, if you guys don't know the history of MSPN, it was originally called Inside the Marble Olympics, and this was during the beginning, basically all the way through the 2018 Marble Olympics. And this was...
I remember that, and it was really good work. Good interviews.
I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
Hey, it was the only work at the time.
It was
so
the
it was
first
really
step
good
forward.
work.
It was the first step forward.
there you go.
Yeah, now look where we are here. I mean,
So-
like that was good though.
This was actually... The M Games sprouted as an idea to be an extreme marble games, and hence the name M Games, kind of a play on the X Games, extreme.
That's
games.
what I was thinking. That I didn't really know that, but I thought it was going to be some sort of like extreme sports type of marble edition. And I'm so glad that it kind of is.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was supposed to mean. The name.
Now I'm like
M-Games,
real
that's where
excited.
it came from. But this initially sprouted as an idea inside of the IMC with me and a few other people. That included Phi. I don't know who you've had on here, or who everyone knows, but Phi used to be, a pretty big name, and started the wiki, modded the subreddit for the Marble Olympics. Was an idea with him, Bob the Great. He's worked on some MSPN stuff. He actually recorded a few episodes of Marble Mayhem Season 1. He's done a lot of Algodo stuff on his own channel as well.
That's really cool.
It was the 2 of us mainly, or the 3 of us mainly, who came up with this idea. And we actually had a whole list of events. Well, I think it was like 6 or 7 events that we had come up with, along with other teams that we were planning on having. This was supposed to be an event or a series on JMR initially, and we pitched it to the IMC with teams like the Purple Stars, who were supposed to host and make their Marble Games debut in that series. The old Pinkies, which are now the current Pinkies again, they were going to be named the Erasers. That's a fun fact.
The Erasers, interesting.
And we had the idea was to make it extreme, but also give an outlet for all those teams that we didn't like. That in the 2018 Marble Olympics, almost half the teams that we saw didn't make the actual competition.
Right.
Interesting.
12 of the
that's
28 teams didn't actually make it in, and we all hated that. And so
I
we
understand
threw
that.
in-
Yeah, I definitely do.
We threw in a lot of teams, like the Rojo Rollers were supposed to be in it. Team Primary was going to be in it. Teams like that, that not necessarily all that missed the Marble Olympics that year. We also had the Limers in the M Games. We really just kind of tried to split the popular teams into the Marble Olympics and the M Games, and you try and make those smaller teams like Team Primary, or even like the Thunderbolts, who have done well before, but they're really not that popular of a team, and make them bigger players in a big series. That was the initial idea for the M Games, and we initially pitched the idea to Gel, and he approved the idea, and we had the go on it. And he asked for our opinions on the events and how they should be made. But then a couple days later, we hear back from Jelly and Dion that they think it was going to be too expensive to make, so they canceled it, which was really frustrating for the 3 of us, because they had given us the go on it. We were really excited for it. We really wanted to see how it would turn out, and that was actually what kind of pushed us to convert the channel from Inside the Marble Olympics to MSPN and to make our own things, because we felt like we were being held back.
Right, because that was a great idea, and like you weren't able to do it, so you wanted to try to do it anyway, and it was good.
And the the reason I said some of you might remember hearing the name M Games before was after this all went down, the same day, Fi actually posted a poll asking if the fans would want to see a series like that. And the poll was tremendously positive. I think it was 94-6, something like that, to yes, rather than no, that they wouldn't want to see it. And the headliner was that the championship was going to be decided in a race through fire.
That'd be so cool.
So
that would be absolutely. Oh, please do
loved
that.
idea.
Please do that.
So what actually ended up happening from the M Games was one of the initial events that I came up with for the M Games was an event called Jousting. And you might recognize that name from the first event of Marble Mayhem. Mm-hmm. What happened was when we transitioned the channel over to MSPN and kind of let go of that Marble Olympics name and tried to distance ourselves a little bit from JMR, but still make content on their videos.
From the ashes.
Was we knew we couldn't afford to make real marble races. We had no budget at all. And this is when Bob really came to the rescue, and he had made I'll Go Do races in the past, and he offered to help make a series to try and get our channel really started and making our own things. And that's when Marble Mayhem started.
The 2D Al Gadoo came first because you didn't have the budget to be able to do some real marble 3D work. And then after you did that a couple of seasons, then you're like, why did you come into some money? Did you earn it from the YouTube so you felt like you could actually do a sort of a real event, or did you just get the equipment for it?
So, what happened was, basically we made Marble Mayhem as a 2D version of what we wanted the M Games to initially be, and it did really well. And we didn't end up ever making money from the channel from just those videos because they weren't extremely popular. They were really good for our channel.
You guys have like 6,000 subscribers now, though, so you're on your way to getting some stuff.
We do, but there's a good reason why we're that high, and it's a video much later down the line. But we were getting about one of the milestones that I remember us wanting to hit, and we hit it for the first time with Event 6 of Marble Mayhem, the Seesaw, which we thought was going to flop just because of the name. But it was such a crazy event, and that goes back to what you guys were talking about. Saw that one. That goes back to what you guys were talking about with the dirt race. You said it was just chaos. That's basically what you saw from the Seesaw. And
was that the one where you had the block that would kind of bounce the marbles up and you had to stay on top of it? Dude, that one I actually really liked, dude. That one was a really good one. How about that?
That was the first time that we hit our milestone of getting 1,000 views in the first 24 hours. And that was always something that we really tried to hit. And we hit it again with the dropper, the finale, which I thought was really good. I enjoyed that a lot. But where was I going with that?
I
guess you're into M Games.
You were just detailing, I think, how you were gaining a following, like to till you eventually build up to trying to make the M Games happen.
Yeah. So what happened was, you asked about how the M Games came to be. We continued on with Marble Mayhem, and it continued to do pretty well. Season
you had a
2,
second season, yeah.
It didn't do as well as I was hoping, but I think I was wanting it to just take off, and it didn't, but it did really well, and I really enjoyed the ending of that season because it was way better than season 1.
Season 2 was I know, and I talked about this in Discord way back when I first joined, but it went so perfectly,
and the crazy thing is that, and many people who were involved in it,
sorry guys,
those were
a lot tonight.
Those were all first takes. We didn't redo anything from that season, and just the fact that it ended the way it did was almost the perfect finale. And I think
marbles,
the big thing that I was trying to do, I knew that Marble Mayhem wouldn't be the extent of what we could do on the channel, but I think really the biggest thing was that I know the idea behind Marble Mayhem was good, but it's not one of those things that's going to blow up. I was using that as an outlet to try and upgrade the production quality, I guess I could say.
Interesting.
Like, get your name
And I
out
feel
there.
like that if you go back to, season 1, episode 1, and then you go and watch the finale to season 2, it's not even the same thing. It's completely different.
I gotta agree with that. I did went back and binge the show at one point, and I gotta say that there is a pretty big difference between the
And
two.
I think we've kind of found our groove. We started with there was cheering in the background. People didn't necessarily like that, so we made it quieter, and then it just went away. The graphics kind of found their place as well, and everything just kind of fell into place, and we got into a groove. But the dangerous thing about getting in a groove is that you never improve if you just keep going straight. And that's where, not the M games, but Marblades came in.
Marblades was... Oh, I loved Marblades.
And
At
Marblades
first, I was a
isn't-
little bit like, oh, they're just putting a marble on top of a blade. But there's something so appealing about Marblades. It was like, to me, that's the first extreme marble sport. When you talk about, like, extreme sports, like, to me, that's, I can picture it. I picture, like, a dirt arena type place and, like, like a boxing ring type around all the blades. And it was such... Because, like, here's where I've been thinking. Because, like, JMR, great job in the Marble Olympics, but they're very professional and, like, how do you say, like, kind of clean type of event. And, like, even the Sand Marble Rally, I mean, even though it's outside and everything, it's kind of done, everything's, like, lined up really nice and everything. And I mean, when you go to the M games, I love how it's kind of like the other side of marble sports. So, like, it's not like a recopy of the Marble Olympics, but it's like its own extreme sport, kind of higher contact, higher risk reward type of marble sport. And that's why I actually ended up loving Marblades. And that's why I'm so excited for M games, because it's kind of a different genre. I'm not watching another Marble Olympics. I'm watching a new marble sports tournament.
And I think the biggest thing that I saw in terms of backlash from Marblades was that comment, it's just a marble on top of a Beyblade. But aren't they all just marbles rolling down a track in the Marble Olympics? It's the same thing. You got to use that imagination. You want to believe that these marbles aren't just sitting on top. They're driving these machines. And I think that first video, when everyone saw what it was and what it became, I think that really showed everyone the direction we're going in. We're not going to be, that side of marble sports that, freaks out over Momo getting chipped. We're not going to care. There will be
chips in the extreme marble sports games. I guarantee it.
That's going to be something that fans are going to, they're going to be yelling at their screen when something happens and congratulating the other side for doing something like that to the other team. And that was our way of kind of testing out that idea and also introducing, IRL marble races onto our channel. That was the first one. I guess it's not really a race, but it's a competition.
Something I want to mention about Marblades before we move on, is like a lesser channel. Like a lot of times, like in especially Algadoo, like they would say like, oh, it's like cycling, but instead like for like the marbles like cycling, but like instead of actually putting the marble like on a bicycle, they would just make an entire new object, like an actual bicycle or like a car looking thing, instead of actually like putting the marble in a car. And so when doing Marblades, like generally what I would expect when I hear that is like they're gonna make a Beyblade represent a specific marble that looks the same in the color design, but doesn't actually have the marble involved. But you actually putting the marble on the Beyblade for me was
that's a
just,
big
like,
difference
was more
in my
than I
opinion as well.
expected.
Correct.
See, and what the thing is that people don't know how difficult that was to do. It was extremely difficult to make Marblades work. That was an idea that was being worked on for months because we just couldn't get them to launch right. And we had a really, really difficult time getting both sides to launch at the same time and to get them even. And that was such a difficult thing, especially because if you know how the launchers work, there's not a hole for those marbles to go in.
There's not.
We had to custom make launchers with, we bought washers and we had to, glue all of those together and then take another launcher and basically bust it apart, drill a hole in the middle of it.
Interesting.
And we went through like 4 different launchers that all failed. And the arena, if you've ever looked at the arena, it's actually got 3 holes on the top, 1 for a light and then 2 that have nothing. Those were initially where the launchers were supposed to go, but apparently the way Beyblades work is that they have to be on some sort of angle to launch. So when they're facing straight down, you pull the
ripcord,
and it wouldn't do anything. It would just stay on the launcher, which was extremely frustrating. And that's why they're kind of angled in the corners. So it was
an
really
difficult. Mind, Mr.
Yeah.
Hershey.
And
Mr. Hershey.
As a patron, I can't confirm that there was a lot of like construction with it. For like I think a good month or 2, you were posting photos of the construction and stuff for Marblades before it came out. Like there was a lot of work that went behind that.
Yeah, there was a lot of behind the scenes that most people didn't see. Like you said, being a patron, you see all that. A lot of people didn't see all that work that went into that, and I understand the gripe about them just sitting on top, but this was.
It's better than not having them all, definitely. I like it. And the fact, if I could cut in here, just the fact that you just told me that you had to, like, break open the launchers and re-put them back together, like that whole, like, makeshift type thing, it just kind of goes, it falls into that theme of extreme sports with me. Like, instead of just, give me one sec. Keep going with something. I have to do something real quick.
Okay.
All right. Wow, that's pressure. Well, I'm gonna wait for him to get back because I was gonna tell him something. I'm not avoiding his question, but I'll make him understand why I'm saying all this before getting.
Yeah, I'm back, and I'm probably not even gonna edit that out because that's too much work. So I probably just totally came in and interrupted something you were saying.
All right.
I had to quickly attend to something random. But I mean, if you made it this far in the podcast, you probably don't give a shit. So I mean, yeah. Hi guys who make it this far. You guys are the real ones. But anyway, I was going to say, and I don't know what the hell you just said because I had to deal with something real quick. So I'm just gonna keep going with what I was saying.
We didn't really go anywhere.
yeah, that sounds about right. But
less than 10 seconds. So.
Oh, was I? Okay. Well, you were counting? Oh, how about that? But what I was going to say is just the fact that you had to make makeshift ones kind of goes with that theme of extreme sports, the theme of like rugged kind of, right? You had to cut into the launchers. You had to do that. It wasn't just like a professional clean thing. And it's a great theme. And I hope that you continue that theme with the M games and things like that because it makes it its own thing. And especially, like I said, after I just heard you say you had to cut into it, I almost love it even more. Like I know it was not just some easy thing. It was an actual, rugged experience to get this extreme sport going. I mean, and I just love the idea. I mean, I got to cut in and say, I hope that you consider doing some kind of collision, like the fidget spinner collision, but like an even more extreme thing where like marbles might actually get chipped. That would be so cool. And like even maybe if you allow marbles to be chipped to compete, it's almost like marbles that have been weathered down by the competition. Oh man, that would just make it its own amazing thing. Like you have this professional Olympics, then you come over here and you have marbles with bruises all over trying to battle their way through, and it's a great vision, man. Like I really like where you're going with this.
So what I was saying to Waff for the 5 seconds you were gone was that I'm not like totally avoiding your question. I know you asked me right off the top about the M games, but I'm trying to get a point across here that even if you go all the way back to the beginning of MSPN when it was inside the Marble Olympics, the goal has always been to create something new and different, something that hasn't been done before, or at least not the way we're doing it.
Interesting.
The actual first video that we ever made as a squad was the one-on-one with Kinnaman, which is actually one of our better performing interviews. But that was actually a proof of concept video for Gel. We were going to put it on the main channel, but they ended up not doing that. But what happened was, the initial idea for interviews was actually not my idea. It was somebody else who was in the IMC, but we didn't think anything like that had ever been done before, and so we went for it. And then you look at Marble Mayhem, and obviously there are tons of Algodu series, but
right.
I feel like it was really, really different. All the events most of the events at least, are very original. And as far as I know, it was the first Augadu series to have constant commentary throughout the entire thing, play-by-play. And it was the first Augadu series that at least I had ever seen that had marbles that were named, single marbles, not teams, that had an entire season of events keeping track of points and awarding a champion.
Oh, you're talking about like seasons 1 and 2 of your Algodu.
Correct.
They also weren't.
Definitely.
They also,
That's a great point.
And they also weren't just colored name marbles. They were like a designed marble that had a specific name.
Right.
That was one of the other unique parts about Marble Mayhem that I liked.
And that's one of the reasons some of these Marble channels keep succeeding. They bring in that kind of personal connection because now they have a name, they have a look, they have a style, they even have a logo, and sometimes, and that kind of makes it more relatable, or not relatable, but you want to watch it more because you want to know. You don't want to just like, oh, you see a bunch of random colors on the screen. Oh, which one's gonna finish first? But now you want to know. Oh, does Limelight win the next one? Does Helios win the next one? Does Dragon's Breath win the next one? Does Tydad win the next one? Sorry, just flexing my knowledge of the Marble Mayhem names. But you want to know.
And
Polygon.
The fun thing is that when you said those names, there were probably listeners out there that either like were so proud that they just heard their marble's name, or just like cringed because you said Helios's name.
Yeah, like depending on what they're fans of, right? And like, I mean, that transfers over to so many of the better Marble Sports channels. You hear the name of your team, the fact that Limers fan is now somewhat of an insult. It's more of a joke than it is a real insult. But if you call someone a Limers fan, people know, oh, that's not meaning they're an amazing human being. It may be a joke, but it's like a thing. It's a thing to actually look at a Limers fan as like not good, and like a Rangers fan is so mainstream, and a Green Ducks fan is like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can give that different kind of. I totally don't have the word. I'm very sorry, you really are killing it tonight, Mr. Hershey. Association between the teams and yourself, and that's what makes it so great. Even something as simple as a 2D Algodu race, once you have commentary and team names and even logos, then people are relating it to more because they want to know who wins. They want to know, does my marble win or does it not? Instead of just, a lot of them I see, they just throw colors, circled colors down the track, or marbles even, and they're like, yeah, that's it. And there's no connection you can make. I mean, you might for the video want a certain one to win, but then afterwards you're like, okay, well, I don't even know what that one's called, so I don't even give a shit. So honestly, I mean,
that's definitely one of the big things with Marble Mayhem. But another, and possibly the biggest thing that I've seen with that over other Algodu series, would be the commentary.
Yes, definitely.
Because out of all the ones that I've seen, and I haven't seen a lot, Wafu might have seen more.
I have seen so many. I can tell you, you're right. You're unique. Commentary is like unique to your channel. I have not, very few people have done it, and the people who have done it did it after you.
See, and I think that, yeah, I've heard of other channels doing it, but mostly what I've heard is that they either cut in between matches and just kind of gave an update, or it did happen after us. But that's just another point to, we want to be unique and original and, start a trend. And that's definitely where Marble Mayhem came from, and definitely where it went, and even where it is today, even though it's kind of on hold. And we can maybe talk about that later. I don't know how much time we have left, but
we don't have too much. I was going to cut in when you're finished with your comment, but go ahead.
But then when you go on to to Marblades, and you talked about it, how that was so unique and obviously had never been done before either. And that's where I was going with all of this before talking about the M games, is that we want to be really unique with these events, and with this series, that's always been a goal of the channel. And I don't know if either of you remember, or if anyone knows, because it was announced a long time ago. When we were announcing the teams, there was 6 marbles in the picture. 3 regular-looking marbles, and then one that was like solid color off on the side, and everyone assumed
that was the captain.
Coach. Yeah, everyone either thought, a captain, aka like a coach, and that that was just something to represent the head of the team. But that's not what they are. These are competitors, and they are metal marbles is what we're calling them. And metal members. And they'll have their own events, and they might even, I'm not quite sure at this point if it's logistically possible, but they may compete in team events and give a whole new aspect to, if you had a relay race with 5 marbles and you could place the metal member anywhere on that line, where would you place it? That gives a whole new, strategy point into
right, because you have this, like, there's not just one form, so it's not just complete random chance. It's still random and chaotic, but it's also like beforehand I have to make a decision. Where would this metal marble best be? And it's almost like you're creating good fan engagement, or like good engagement from people actually involved in it, as well as keeping it chaotic and random. I actually really like that. Yeah, you have good ideas.
One of the things that I was thinking about doing, I'm not quite sure on it yet, but I was thinking of getting a committee of maybe 5 members, or 5 people per team, and kind of making those coaching decisions for that team. And so that's
so cool.
It's not just random.
And this is in M Games.
Yes.
Or a different thing. Would I get to do whiteouts because I run the Instagram, or the
probably, yeah.
Yay! I'm happy. Talk to me later.
I think that's a really cool idea, because if you went out and you saw that, I don't know, let's say for instance the Tridents did really, really well in a relay race because they put the metal marble third, let's say, in the line.
Interesting.
I've never tested this, so I have no idea if that's good or not. And then you have, let's say you guys chose to put the whiteouts metal member at the end of the line, and they didn't do as well. I that's probably wrong. It's probably opposite from what I just said. But that decision, if that was made by the creator of the video, it would feel, I guess rigged. You would say the word is?
Yeah.
Or just
right, because
biased.
then like they're like, oh, one guy is just kind of fixing this whole thing because he's tested this, he knows. But then like if each team, 8 teams or whatever, has a different person that's in charge, and they're like not even making the videos, and they're coming outside and they just each time write in, oh, throw my metal marble in second because I think that'd be cool, or I think that'd be smart, or I think that would win. That kind of creates a new element. And dude, oh my god, dude, I was kind of thinking about something recently in the world of marble sports, just that little bit of fan engagement. Oh, it's a deal maker, man. Like that. It just literally just the fact that I can sit there and choose where my metal marble goes, it doubles, in my opinion, the awesomeness of the fan engagement. And oh my god, that's a really good idea. And I hope to see that. And I might be able to do that because I own a team. But like it's really
you don't own the team.
Shh. Whiteouts are mine. But it's such a great idea to like involve us in a way that it's not going to affect the results. It's not like I'm releasing the marble, so everyone's going to release it with different power, but I make a decision that's going to affect my team. Because obviously...
It's like you've got just fans coaching the team and coming together as one to make a decision. It's not like one person sitting there making a decision for a team. You're going to have like a group of people who are deciding for this team what would be best. And that's just one part of the fan engagement that we're looking to get into with the M Games.
That's absolutely so cool. And think about it, fan bases that come around these teams that you created. Like maybe the team, the owner of the team could put out polls each time. Oh, where should we put the metal marble? And then all of a sudden, everyone's engaged, and everyone feels like not only do they get to pick their team and enjoy it, but they actually have an effect on how this team does because they put a vote in. Where am I going to put the metal marble? The majority of the fans put it third, and so if you were voted third, you're like, whoa, I made that difference in the team. I'm actually making a difference. It actually is a really, really good idea. We're definitely gonna write that down, Mr. Waugh, for a different episode.
So I do want to point out, like, that's another thing that I kind of like. What your idea here is like over something that happened in Gels. It's like, I don't know if you knew about this, but like because the Oceanics did so poorly, they actually fired
their coach. Right?
Yeah, and like they and like so they made up like a Stith made like an article about how like the team members talk about how like their Tide worked better as a team member, not as a coach. Like he didn't understand like how like that they weren't doing as well, and that's why they didn't perform well. Like, well, I do like that. Like, it's all been like a role playing to so fabricating drama
Definitely.
is fun and all, but having the like actual people who are literally being the coaches or a group of people being the coaches makes it more personal and it can actually, instead of just being a fabricated reason for losing, can be a literal reason for losing. Like they lost because you made that bad decision.
And
Right. Yeah, like when you see in JMR, you often see like a random fan interference. Obviously, that's staged, and I think those are like the first step into really getting creative with it. And I really like those, but it's staged. So like that
honestly,
Marble team, yeah.
Honestly, I hate those. Well, I guess I don't know if I hate all of them, but the ones that are just so forced, and when it happens time and time again, and with teams getting into fights with each other and fans getting thrown out and making teams the bad guy, that's where I think the line needs to be drawn. Because, personally, my original favorite team was Team Primary. I'm just going to put that out there. I know you can laugh at me, but
I am laughing at
Team
you.
Primary was my original favorite team. And this was back when I binge watched the first half of the 2016 Marble Olympics, and they were awful. But I still really liked them, and they were my team. And all of a sudden, in the last 2 years, or I guess 3 years now, since the course malfunction when Aymar got a jump on the relay, they have just totally leaned into Team Primary should be hated, and they've just made their fan base go after other fan bases for no reason. I wholeheartly believe that they rigged the relay race from these previous qualifications. Maybe I'm a biased fan and I just hate that, but she didn't move at all. Mary didn't move at all when the contact was made. So I'm just saying, go look at the replay. But when you start making personalities for teams specifically, that was one of the things people didn't like about the interviews, was that it gave their favorite, quote, athletes a personality, and maybe it wasn't the personality they thought they had. And,
right.
When you start doing that to teams in, an actual official video that's part of a series, I really, really don't like that, especially when it feels like an attack on what was my favorite team. So,
yeah, because it was like random, right? Instead of like if the fans had an engagement of what to pick and what to order the players and stuff, and then it messed up, and then fans or coaches were angry because of decisions.
They would probably start going after each other, not other teams' fans.
Right.
They would get in a fight with each other.
The worst one for me, and to be honest, I do think the cool things they throw into JMR are creative. They're just beginning. Marble Olympics only started a few years ago, so when they do put in those little interferences, it's just the first step into making it as realistic as they can. So I would cut them slack on that. But
definitely, yeah.
When
I'm not saying
really,
it's all bad,
let's talk about the qualifiers, okay? I mean, not even outside of Team Primary. I mean, we were looking at what was it? Event 2 with the Limers, and they performed like second best overall, and then all of a sudden their fans throw like debris on the field or something, and their fans are angry. Why? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why would you throw debris in the field if your team was doing good? That doesn't be at least somewhat thoughtful. If you're gonna do those interferences, don't make it like it was so just out of context. Like not. I mean, I don't know if it was not thought out, but it didn't seem to make any sense. And I remember talking about that very early towards the beginning, but it's just weird. Like, you remember that, right, Mr. Waff? I mean, like, it was, why? Like, they didn't go with anything.
That's true. And
as soon as they can make that step where they can get fans involved with decisions and like a coach for each team that's a human that makes a decision each time, I would love to be one, by the way, for like the Green Ducks or something. I'm a huge Green Ducks guy. But, as soon as they do something like that, then it would make more sense. So if a team... Huh?
You're so meta.
How am I
Ducks
so
fan,
meta?
really?
Dude,
Everyone
before
knew they were gonna
okay,
do good.
whoa,
I mean, come on.
whoa. Let's pull it back real quick. Before they were even doing good, I just saw their performance in the qualifiers. I was on this podcast saying they were going to be the ones to win. They were going to get top 3 or at least top 5 in the Marble Olympics. Before we saw them perform in the Marble Olympics, I was a believer before I saw.
Okay.
I think I don't know if Waff remembers this or not, but in February when this team was announced in the MSPN Discord, I said they were going to perform extremely well because they're named after Hank Green, because he basically saved their channel. That was my prediction. I have no idea if that's why.
I have no idea of any of that. So I definitely like don't blame me in that regard because I didn't know any of that. I thought they would just come up.
I vaguely remember a comment like that, but that was back in February, so that was over 6 months ago.
And dude, that's when I just got into marble sports, so I had no idea any of the interactions between any of the people. So if you did that comment and I didn't even read it, I would have went over it like, oh, I'm just gonna make X camo and shove advertising down people's throats because I think that's gonna win. I mean, that's what I was thinking. I didn't understand that, so I wouldn't even know. I just remember. Now you may be right, but I definitely saw the qualifiers, saw the performance, and then was like, okay, that team is doing good. I'm gonna call it beforehand, and they did. So I definitely feel like a fan that didn't just go with the bandwagon, but like one of the beginning Green Ducks fans before I even knew any of the stuff you just talked about.
And I feel like the Hazers have a lot more fans now. I'm just gonna say that.
Shout out to Brian.
When they were initially announced, because I was literally the only Hazers fan for like 3 months. And then they did really well, and then now I saw they got the podium this year. So,
they quit good.
They've done extremely well. So I mean, they're extremely fast. They're really awesome to watch. I love the marbles, the look of the marbles.
Good skills, yeah. Smoggy, hazy.
But I was honestly their only fan for a very long time.
You mentioned Imar.
Well, Brian was always a Hazers fan too after this year.
When they were announced. I just liked the look of the marbles, so that I was like, okay, they're going to be my third team that I'm going to root for.
That's why there's so many Rangers fans.
You mentioned that Imar got into controversy. Was it during this the qualifiers for this year? Like, what happened exactly?
No, that was back in the 2017, like actually in the Marble Olympics. It was in the relay race, and he was the third out of 4 marbles down the line. I don't know how they did the relay race this year, but it was they would sit on a block, and then that block would get hit by it was like passing a baton.
I remember that,
hitting the block, and and Imar somehow fell off of the block and started going forward before the team member from behind.
I remember that now. That's right.
And I don't know how that's even possible.
Well, maybe it was, but like if that was an accident, because that's something that could be easily staged without seeing it. Then it was like a good use of an accident to make it like a team error. I don't mind that.
Well, honestly, I think maybe what happened is like because it's so unstable, someone probably accidentally maybe it was upstairs, or something that someone maybe stomped up somewhere. And it shook the building, and it shook the track, and it fell off. But because they didn't notice it, and like they probably didn't notice it maybe, and they didn't realize until maybe way later after the show was released. It's like, oh wait a minute, this was not it was not the fault of the track, like or the athletes, quote unquote, but someone accidentally made it happen, and they didn't even realize it.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like I was mad at that because I'm a primary fan, and they were already doing really really bad after they started out so well. That was just like, of course that would happen in team primary. But that was not the thing that I got upset about. That's not one of the things that I'm really frustrated about that they do. But it was really one of the things that really, really drive me away, besides all of the other drama that we won't talk about because we don't have enough. We have nowhere near enough time.
Yeah, we actually have to wrap it up very, very now.
We haven't finished the question about the end game, so let's try and I guess get back to that, and then we'll talk about From the Ashes before we end.
All right,
we don't even have time for From the Ashes. We're going on an hour and a half now.
Well, this is like a two-parter, man.
Yeah,
we got it.
Yeah, dude, I'm totally fine with a two-parter. You've been great so far. So I mean, if you're still listening, I don't know how you'd still be here at this point. If you are, throw a comment down if you want to see Hershey again. I think he's done a great job. I'm planning on bringing him back on at some point. But I guess we can start to wrap it up because we do need to. We covered pretty much everything except for the whole FTA drama, and of course there's dramas that are to be unspoken about.
We still haven't finished the
podcast.
We still haven't finished the question about the end game, so I at least want to get through that.
I don't even know what my question was.
I think it's like
I think I'm just
how he gets there.
yeah. I think I was just kind of explaining the general idea and where it's where it's at.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm very excited for the whole different theme it brings to the table as opposed to being another copy of a Marble Olympics. I know there's other channels that are doing sort of that, and it's okay, but it's not like a whole new idea. So
one of the things that we're really trying to get down, and we talked about this already a little bit, is the fan interaction. But we're also going to be, I believe, we're going to have, each marble's going to have a name, but we're probably going to run a bit of a fundraiser later on because this is very expensive, much more expensive than you'd think. We're actually going to be running a little bit of a fundraiser for just the general public and the fans to be able to name the members and have another part in the series. And there was one other thing I was going to talk about.
As a patron, I've already named, I think, like 4 of the telescopics, I believe.
Yeah, I think it was either
good
3
for
or
you,
4,
Mr. Waff.
Yeah, we have a few names, but here's one of the things I was going to say is one of the things that, as I said, I like statistics a lot, and as a statistics person, I really get annoyed with the Marble Olympics when they have a marble, because they all have names. So typically, let's use the Rangers for example, just because I know all the names and know off the top of my head what they're all supposed to be good at. Clementon is known for his second place finish and Marble Olympics clinching win in the sand race. I feel like a performance like that should make Clementon the racer for all of the solo races.
Oh, dude, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
And
I almost wanted to.
And Kinnuin has I don't know if he still has the all-time record, but he broke the record and finished in second overall in the underwater race. He should do all the underwater events, right?
That's a fact.
That is true. I think,
or like when Starry was not the one who competed in the
Starry,
Sand Marble Rally, and
Starry
such.
is a perfect example. Yeah, is that Starry should always be doing their sand races because they're great at it for whatever reason. I think the biggest thing is that, and we saw this firsthand in 2017 when the Jungle Jumpers were forgotten. What I'm going to do, all of these marbles are going to have names, and it's not going to be an interchangeable thing. There's going to be a marble that's slightly bigger. There's going to be a marble that's slightly smaller. They're all going to have names.
I do like that.
And they're all going to
in the context
stay
of your event,
with that name. And they're all going to do what they're good at. And they're all going to be tested. So what's going to happen with these teams is all 6, because I have a backup member for each team, I have 2 backup members for each team.
Smart.
All 6 are going to get tested on every event. And whichever marble performs best against its teammate is going to be the one competing in the actual event. And this first season of the M Games, and I hope to do more, is going to kind of set the standard for which marble is going to compete in which kind of event. So the first event is actually already recorded. It's the only one that is recorded so far. We have others planned, but it's an underwater event. And obviously there's a team that wins the event and a couple of teams that didn't perform too well. And that's going to be something that maybe this committee coach thing that we were talking about just a minute ago, maybe they can decide which marble gets to compete in which event, and based on their past performance, what can they do?
That's really cool.
And that was one of the things that really annoyed me, was that these marbles, they all have names, but every time you see Starry, every time you see Momo, every time you see a marble that you know by name, it's a different marble than you saw last time.
And it's only if you can recognize them.
Most of the time, yeah, and most of the time you can't really tell the difference.
Yeah.
Which is why you can get away with that. But personally, this is how I want to do it, because as somebody who likes statistics and, watches a lot of sports, I feel like this is how they would do it in real life. If this was a real, human sporting event, they would put out their best product to try and win an event. and so I have my mindset on keeping track of these marbles somehow.
Yeah.
and keeping these names connected to these marbles so that when you hear the name, gosh, I don't even have a name for one of the marbles pulled up.
Galileo, that was the name of the coach for the telescopics.
All right, well, we'll say Galileo.
Hubble was one of the competitors for telescopics.
Okay, so when you see Hubble, let's say Hubble is slightly bigger than the rest of the marbles on the team, just because there's variance in how these marbles are made. You'll see that marble, and you'll know when you put them up against, when you see a picture of the telescopics, you're going to know, oh, that one's Galileo. Not because it says Galileo under him, but because he's slightly bigger than the rest of them. And maybe because he has this white streak in a certain spot. And you can
make them slightly differentiable so that you can
notice
tell.
Those things, so that
not necessarily carbon copies for the whole team of one team. That's good. I like that as well, and I understand why the Marble Olympics wouldn't be like that, but I do like the fact that you'd bring that into M Games.
And it's something that you can connect way more with one specific member, more than just a team, if you know what the differences are between each one and what their strong suits are and what they're not so good at. And when you see a title of a video, let's say we're not going to do an event called Sand Race, but if you see an M Games titled Sand Race, you're going to know which member of your team is competing. And I think that's something that I would want to see, and that's why I'm going to try and bring it to the M Games.
And even that from just like Marble Mayhem itself, a reason why season 2 somehow elicited such an incredible reaction to me was because of my connection with Dragon's Breath himself. Because I'm even calling it a he, even though it's just a digital marble. But because you got a marble, an athlete I could actually identify and know their statistics and how good they did, I could form a connection with it. And seeing him do so well, especially with that clutch performance, I think it was event 6 in season 2, made me made me actually jump up and pump my fist in the air. And I did that for a marble. That's ridiculous.
That's really awesome to hear. And it's crazy because everybody the main point against all of this, all of marble sports, is that it's all random, right? But then you say, is it really random? You look at season 1 of Marble Mayhem. Helios led the entire competition the entire time,
and he nearly did it for season 2.
Lost the lead, and in season 2 and season 1, it crossed over seasons. Thanos won all 3 of the hurdles type events.
Oh shoot! Yeah, that's right. He did.
It's all random. He won hurdles, and then he won the second hurdles, and he won the coals. It's crazy how that can happen. It's all random, I guess.
But it managed to work out so perfectly.
It works itself out.
Although
yeah,
with season 3D though.
Listen, guys, we do have to have to wrap up.
Really?
We are going quite long, dude. I know, and I'm saying the same thing. And I actually I already want to schedule the next episode with you because there's so much to dive into with this talk.
Gosh, we missed we didn't get even half of it.
Dude, we didn't even get to From the Ashes, which I want to get to, and there's a lot that I have to say about as well as this marble choosing, this whole thing that we've been discussing, and I really hate to cut it off. I do because, that I compared to anyone loves to talk marbles, but we do have to end it.
This gives you time to catch up on this gives you time to catch up on Marble Mayhem. So next time you can actually completely talk about all 2 seasons.
If I would say one thing,
give a final thought, please.
I just want to say thank you guys for having me on because this was. Having a discussion like this and being able to go off on tangents and just have a discussion like this about, it wasn't even just about marble sports. It was about, it was kind of about psychology, how fans
I love those discussions.
Think about the event. I think it was really fun, and I didn't expect to talk about that, coming in.
You thought we were just going to be a news thing, and that's what I'm trying to be on the podcast. I'm not trying to just be a news thing. We have a news segment for that. Johnny Marble doing a great job with that. But we don't. That's not what we are. We're the thing where we discuss we'll analyze the marbles themselves, but we'll discuss people and the feelings and how we think we can improve and how we think the whole organization can improve. And it's like and hopefully if, I get some well-placed advertisements, wink, wink. But we can actually build a large community of listeners that have thoughts and actually will write in, and we get a few write-ins, but we like more write-ins and like talking about what they think and what they think they can improve. And it's not just about, okay, let's say just coming on the podcast and be like, okay, well, let's read off the stats from the previous event. It's about analyzing what we think and what we think of the whole thing and the experience, and it's almost like a whole different world that we're discussing. And that's, I at first when I started this podcast, I was like, it could be fun, but this kind of seems like it couldn't really hold a lot of attention or a lot of discussion. But like literally every time I go way too long. So it's that's meant in a good way. Definitely. I enjoy these discussions.
And that's why I really loved my first episode with you, because I brought up like how and why I like marble sports, and we got like you said into the psychology of it all, and that's why I really liked the episode 6, not just because it was my first episode, but because the topics we went into were so much more in depth than just talking about the Marble Olympics and the events and how they happen, but the psychology of marble sports itself, and the actual statistics of how you make it an event, should you have disqualifications and planned interferences and yada yada yada. That to me adds to more than just doing the role playing of pretending that the marbles are actual athletes, and adds so much more entertainment to this whole podcast.
Yeah, and I got to say one more thing, and then we'll wrap it up. But I just can't wait until we have a big enough community that we just have, maybe we could even do a live stream and we just sit and we just watch an episode together on the podcast and discuss it, or just kind of enjoy the whole thing and just discuss with all these fans all their different thoughts, almost like a huge big conversation. It's it's an engagement to the community, not just a news thing. And it really, especially this podcast, especially with you, it's especially brought that out, that there's just so much to talk about when it comes to the whole just world of it, as opposed to just the facts of the statistics. It's great. We do have to wrap this up. Yeah, because
we're almost at 2 hours. This is the longest episode we've done. Hands down.
This is 140 right now. Maybe, depends on how I edit
true.
It. But most of this is staying in, to be honest.
I think so, yeah.
It's more about how long the other stuff is. But guys, we're going to be going to the outro song now. I literally did not even prepare this literally every freaking time. So, but we're going to go with with first thing that comes to mind is
I have a pick if you want.
All right, but it has to be on Newgrounds.
It has to be on Newgrounds?
Yeah, because I had to download it initially.
Operation Evolution by Dim Rain 47.
Oh, that should be there, because I know Dim Rain 47 from At the Speed of Light. Amazing song. So either, guys, it's going to be Operation Evolution from Dim Rain 47 or At the Speed of Light from Dim Rain 47, because he's a great creator. I literally don't know what it's going to be, so whatever it is, figure it out. Look up the artist, okay? So, but we're going to wrap it up. Hershey, it has actually been amazing having you on.
Yes, it's been great.
Like I said, I want to have you on again. So, we're gonna wrap it up here, but I'll see you guys next time. Go to the outro song. I just knocked over my water bottle, but that's the chaos we like to see here on the podcast. See you guys next time.
Later.